Hello. Good evening and welcome. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Masked Singer. On tonight's show, we're going to unveil the dinosaur. All right. Take it off. 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 It's me. Hey. Good evening. Welcome to... No. It's Scotty. My hair's all messed up under that thing. My T-Rex. So, I know it's time for the Masked Singer, so I thought I would do a little mass singing tonight for everybody. And take off my dinosaur head, which, my goodness, I didn't. So, thank goodness. But I'm here. So, welcome. This is Scotty Rourke Talks About. And this week, Nick will change the banner, so it's Scotty Rourke Talks About, or Scotty Talks About. And then this week, we're talking about ghost hunting. So, very excited to have everybody here tonight to talk about ghost hunting. So, I see Sharon in the room. Nick, hi, Jamie. Welcome, everybody. There's a bunch of you guys here. I'm so glad to see so many of you here tonight. So, we'll get right into the ghost hunting. So, as you can see, I'm wearing my Ghostbuster shirt with the Ecto, with Slimer, the logo, Stay Puffed, everything. So I'm all ready to go, and so there's multiple people on. So hey guys, welcome. All right, tonight let's talk about ghost hunting and what ghost hunting is, and kind of how I started in ghost hunting. And if you have questions about ghost hunting, please put them in the chat room. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that come up tonight. If we get into mediumship and spiritual beliefs in the ghost hunting field, let's talk about that too this evening. Hi, Carly. So let's just continue to start talking about it. So a little bit about my story. If you haven't heard about it, I know I've talked about it many times, and a lot of people see me and I talk about it. Oh, gotta move my ghost over. There, that's better. You can see the Ghostbusters logo behind me. So my story is I saw ghosts in the late 60s, early 70s. So it was a time when it wasn't probably the greatest to be out there to see spirits. And I had a lot of people make fun of me during that age because it wasn't a great time. Hi, Chris. It wasn't a great time to be out there talking about spirit or even talking about ghosts at the time, because it really wasn't that popular in the 60s. Either you were on some medication, drugs, or you were, kind of loony at the time. So I'm glad that time is over. We're just loony now, just like I am all the time. I'm always loony. But anyway, so it wasn't until the 80s when I went to the school. I went to the University of Wisconsin at Oshkosh, and I went to get my degree in theater and television. And I'm going to tell you the story about why I'm a big Ghostbuster fan. Hi, Shelley. So in the 80s when I went to school, it was the mid 80s. I went to college, and I really didn't tell anybody about my abilities at that time. I was just spending a lot of time just doing, the basic college stuff, drinking and being stupid. But I stopped drinking in 1987. I'll get into that story in a second. But in the 80s, one day I was working at the theater, and I walked up into the prop room, and there was a lady in the room right in front of me. She had no legs. She was just an apparition right there in front of me, and I saw her. And I come running out of the room. This was upstairs, middle of the day. It was bright and sunny. It was just a beautiful day out. And I remember the day because of all the crap that happened. And I came running out of the room, and all the kids were there wondering what the hell was going on. And I said, there's a ghost in there. I saw a ghost. I saw a ghost. And I was screaming and yelling. And everybody looked at me like, woo, you saw a ghost. Now, I just realized then, I went, oh, you freaking idiot. You just came out again to everybody, letting everybody know you see ghosts. Well, sure enough, there was a ghost in there. Sure enough, people knew. But the cool thing was that there was way more people out there that that liked to talk about ghosts. So that was a cool thing. They were really, especially the girls. I got a lot of dates. That was the neatest thing about it, was I was able to get a lot of dates with people that wanted to talk about ghosts, that just loved the idea. We spent a lot of time using Ouija boards and the like, and talking to spirits back then. So it was really a pretty cool time to see everybody. Hi, Jody. But that was the 80s, and that was right about the same time the Ghostbusters came out, and that was what was kind of cool, was the fact, here was the first time in my history that people with ghost abilities, men seeing ghosts, not just women, who were mediums at the time, but there was guys, people that saw ghosts, and it actually made everybody think it was kind of cool, because here's 4 guys making it really funny, making it pretty exciting to go out and see ghosts. It wasn't scary. It wasn't the horror movie type of ghosts that we see today, even today, which drives me nuts. But it was all about ghosts. It was all about our interaction with ghosts. And I've since met Dan Aykroyd and Ernie Hudson, and I've been at events with them. And we've talked, and I thank both of them, because I said, I don't think without Ghostbusters we would kind of be doing what we're doing today, because I don't see that the world would really know what Ghostbusters, that really made spirits normal. It made ghosts normal. It made going out looking for ghosts normal. And I think a lot of the TV shows that are on today, the ghost shows, I see a lot of the everything we do right now is because of Ghostbusters. But this gave me a chance where I would tell people I see ghosts, and no longer did I get made fun of that much. I still, to the day, get made fun of, unfortunately. It's kind of weird how that happens. Is the fact that people that are there seeing the other side, trying to help people, still get made fun of, just out of nowhere. And it's kind of a shame that happens. So that was in the 80s. So then it comes up, so my first ghost hunting investigation was probably before most people watching tonight were maybe alive or out of kindergarten. It was 1993, believe it or not, 1993. I was working at a theater in Oshkosh. It was the Grand Opera House. I did a lot of shows there. I would do community theater there. I would do traveling shows there. I did all kinds of really cool events at there. I mean, I worked there as one of the house operations people. I mean, the techies. I brought in all the shows. I would build sets. I would fix the place. I would work with the staff there. So, and this place was haunted beyond compare. I saw ghosts all over the place. I knew the ghosts were there. So in 1993, one night we got a call from a paranormal group out of Springfield, Illinois, that wanted to rent the Grand Opera House for the night so they could go ghost hunting. And it was funny that the manager of the theater goes, "Scotty, you're into ghosts. Do you want to stay the night with them? We'll pay you to stay the night with them so you can manage the building while they're here." I said, "Sure." What was really cool was I was able to investigate with them as the night went on. So it was really a fun night. But so that was 1993, and I'm doing my first paranormal investigation. Back then, we ended up putting baby powder on the floor to see if there was any footsteps of the ghosts going by. We had string down from the ceiling. They had a reel-to-reel recorder there with a big microphone that they had in the basement. So they had this camcorder back then. At the time, it was huge. It was like this really big one that you wore on your shoulders. So the technology wasn't there, but the encounters we had there were amazing. So it was like 3 a.m. I'm sitting back at my desk in the back of the theater, and they're all doing some EVPs or something in the night, and I'm sitting there and I hear the footsteps of the ghosts walking right by me. And I said to them, "Hey," I said, "I see you're taking a break from them too." and you guys want to be with me, I said, you can be with me anytime you want to. So it was pretty exciting to have them there. So yeah, it was 1993, first investigation. So hopefully I've been around for a while. Too long sometimes you look at that. So awesome. Anyway, so that was my first paranormal investigation. So it took a long time, and there's been so many. I mean, I was even talking to the spirits men there, because like I said, I've known that I could speak with spirits all the time. I've always known that spirits are around us, and they're at the investigations, and we're actually there to go ahead and help. We're there really more to help the spirits that are there, give their messages, and if they're not there, then we need to. I mean, if they're once their message is gone, and if they're just spirits, then it's fine. But if they're ghosts, we really want to move them on. So those who haven't seen my shows before or haven't seen me talk before, the difference I always talk about, but the difference between spirits and ghosts. What a ghost is a ghost is a spirit, or is a person that has left their physical body. So this body that we're in, this shell, this skin, this little fleshy thing that we live in, is gone. It's no longer here. It's passed away. So that body is no longer there. However, they have not crossed all the way over into what most people call heaven, the other side. I don't know, you name it what you want to call it. But, it depends on the religion you are and what you call it. So I call it, some religions call it Summerland. Some call it heaven. So I'll just call it heaven. So if you haven't gotten into heaven, you're stuck here on earth. You're stuck in the earth plane or in the earth existence. You still have the same earth encounters. You still have the same earth emotions. You have the same earth feelings. And for a spirit, that's not great. Because once you get to heaven, that's all gone. You become of love. So like the ones I post on my page all the time, I've decided that I'm not going to wait for heaven anymore. I'm going to be the person of love that I can be now. And that's what's exciting for me, is to be that person of love all the time. Not just when I get to heaven. Because then it's too late. Because then you don't have the experiences you are here. So we're here having the experiences. And then we need to move on. So that's the difference. So when you ghost hunt, really, so a lot of groups, go out to try to help people, but I always say you need to make sure you have a medium involved too, because a medium on a ghost hunting team will also allow you to give the physical evidence, that you get through your equipment, your EVPs, or if you're on your FLIR cameras, or on your whatever device you have, your K2s, your anything new that they've created, the Stickman. I don't even know what they call that. I forgot that all over. But anybody remembers, put it down underneath. I can see in the little chat room of what some of those are. But all of that equipment is there to scientifically help the homeowner know that they have a spirit there. And once we're able to prove that or disprove it, because some things aren't of spirit, and if we disprove it, then we need to make sure that we tell the homeowners the truth. We're not the SLS scammer. Thanks, Nick. But so the key to this is to be as honest to the homeowners as we can, and then to help find out who that spirit is in their home. Because without that, then just telling somebody, going in and recording and getting an EVP and telling them it sounds kind of like this, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But it sounds like this, but we really don't know who it is. That doesn't help a homeowner. It helps them if you give the things that correlate what like a medium or a sensitive could give in the building, and then be able to get that same information. So the more information we can give to the homeowners when we ghost hunt is the best. Does that make sense to everybody? It's dry on this rainy day in Wisconsin. All right. So, all right, so my 93 ghost hunt, and I'm drawing a blank tonight. I'll think about it here before we go at the end of the night. The gentleman that I ghost hunt, I'm still really good friends with, and I'm blowing his mind tonight. I've had a headache most of the day, so I'm trying to be over it. So Very excited though. Hi Michelle. Hi Jennifer. Hi Oma. Lisa's there. Everybody's there. So thanks guys. Thanks for tuning in. But yes, Jen put thanks for pointing out the importance of honesty in our clients. I think that's the biggest thing that should be stressed, and I think that's huge. I ghost hunt with shadow hunters who are on here tonight on their page. We thank Nick and all the rest of the team for being here. I see Sharon and Greg and a few others. Thank you guys for letting me be a part of their teams. But I only work with teams that I thoroughly trust. Like Fox City's paranormal team up in Oshkosh with Tim Miley. His team is probably is an amazing team too, and I've been working with them for quite a while, and I thoroughly love them and everything to do about the groups. And then Charles Bruss's team in Milwaukee is another team that I work with, Bruce City Paranormal. So the three of those in this area are the ones that I work with. There's one in Racine that I'm working with that I hopefully will get involved with them in the future here. So, but like I said, I only work with the teams that are the honest ones, because we've been to houses, we've been to places. I was just at an investigation not too long ago, right before the shutdown, or when the social distancing started. We went to this place that this other team came in, and they told them from Iowa, and they came to this house, and they came in and told them that they had a portal in their basement, and it was bringing all these demonic and crappy energy into this house, and it was crazy. I was just like, what is going on? So of course Tim doesn't tell me, no team, Nick doesn't tell me, Charles doesn't tell me. That I'll tell you, I do not like knowing anything about the investigation. I don't even want to know what town we're in. And that started off, let me get back to this one later, but let me start going back in time again. When I was in Children of the Grave 2 with the Booth brothers, and this is kind of like, they kind of helped ingrain this in me. So I met Christopher Booth at a convention in Pensacola, Florida. And we were at this convention, and all the speakers, I was one of them, all the speakers went to breakfast together, and we were sitting there, and his girlfriend at the time introduced us, because her and I talked, but Christopher and I didn't talk. And so at breakfast, he shows me this picture of this voodoo doll on his phone. He goes, tell me about this. I said, okay. So I told him about it, and he goes, wow, that's amazing. And she goes, yeah, he's amazing. He's been doing readings all weekend. Everything's great about him. You should really use him in one of your movies. Christopher says, well, we're filming on Tuesday. Can you be in Ohio? I said, where in Ohio? He said, just be in Ohio on Tuesday. I said, okay. And I left it at that. I got a call on Sunday and said, no, don't forget, we're filming on Tuesday. Be in Ohio. Be in Ohio on Tuesday. I said, where in Ohio? They said, anywhere you be in Ohio, you're going to be close enough to film. I said, okay. I mean, Ohio's still a big state. So I went to stay with some friends in the Cincinnati area, and I got a call on that Tuesday. They called me and said, hey, so like it was like 7 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning. They said, this afternoon, we're going to film about noon. You should probably get going now, because the place is a couple hours away. Here's the town. Go. We didn't have smartphones back then. That was 8 years ago. I think I even had I had one of those tiny Motorola phones that were about that big. But just exciting. So Christopher goes, just be here in Bangs, Ohio at, I think it was like noon. They said, and I said, where in Bangs, Ohio? They said, meet us at the restaurant. So, okay. So I went to the restaurant. Of course, they weren't there. And I called them, and they said, well, you just wait there. We're not ready for you to film. And I said, okay. Then they said, come down this road, and we're at the end of the road. I said, okay. So it was like 12:30, 1 o'clock by the time I got there. I get out of the car, I pull up, they wave to me, park my car, get up. Philip has the camera, and Christopher has a microphone. Christopher puts a microphone on me. The light turns on Philip's camera, and they go, tell us about this building. And I turn, and that's where Children of the Grave 2 starts. I knew nothing about the building. I knew nothing about the town. I knew nothing about anywhere. I mean, they showed up, put a camera on, and it was some amazing. We had some amazing equipment. I know Keith Age was there too, and but Keith and I have known each other forever. Um, so tell Keith he's the older one. No, I think I'm older than Keith. Not sure. Ugh. But Keith was there. He had a brand new. What was it back then? I mean, what was that? That was 8 years ago already. He had over a $10,000 FLIR camera at that time, and so you know how expensive those cameras were. And he had that, and we caught something in the building that I've never seen before. We caught a shadow that I was talking to. The room I said that we needed to go into had children's drawings in it, had children's pants in it, and I've never even been. Like I said, I was in Ohio on Tuesday. Ohio on Tuesday. I think that, hey, that's a good thing. I just figured it out. I've always wondered what the name of my book was going to be, and now I got it. Ohio on Tuesday by Scotty Rourke. I like that. You guys like that? Give me a thumbs up or a like in here. I think that's funny. A couple of loves. Scotty Rourke, Ohio on Tuesday. That's funny. But anyway, so let's get back to Jen's point earlier. Was the integrity type of thing, especially when we're doing this, is the most important thing. So we just went, like I said before, the coronavirus shut us all down. It was my last night. Was, hey, you know, we're going to this house. You know, I didn't quite know where it was, but it was far enough up north. It was like 2 hours away. So Tim gave me the town, and I drove up there. And I went to a restaurant, and I went to a Chinese buffet, and they said, oh, we're in town, let's go to the house. So I said, okay. They gave me the address to the house, and we went over. I get to the house, and I feel nothing like that. I feel nothing. I don't feel anything. I feel totally... It was a loving home. It was an amazing home. I mean, I walked up, I knew that the house wasn't on its ground before. I felt like that this wasn't its permanent place. It didn't really like the land it was on, but didn't hate it. But it kept telling me, not our place. This is not our ground. And I said, okay. Then I walked the building, and I got the individuals who were there. By the end of it, we were able to totally debunk the portal in the basement, this evil portal that was there, these evil villains were there. The ladies of the house were the original owner and her sister. They kept showing me how the house used to look like. And then I found out from the person that was there, the homeowner that owns the place, that this was the third land it was on. So I was correct with that. That's why when I got up, I didn't feel anything on the land. That's why they kept telling me it wasn't the land. But the coolest part in here, though, was the spirits helped us actually catch these kids in the neighborhood vandalizing a house and a car. They kept telling me, look outside, look outside. So I turned the ghost, I look outside, and I see this car. It's like driving by real slow. I'm like, okay. And then it comes by again, and the ghost goes, it's out there again. So I go, look, sure enough, it's back out there. And then one more time, we see it come, and it like put its lights on in front of the house, because we had cars out there, so they were seeing if anyone was there. But the house was all dark because we're ghost hunting, and so they were looking and kind of scoping it out. So I have arthritis, and I have a baseball bat cane that I use when I have, you know, really bad days where I can't walk. And that day wasn't a day that I was feeling bad. That day was a day that I had it in the car, because I always have it in the car, because you never know. So I told Tim, I said, let's go out and see what's going on, because, you know, we start hearing stuff and we see this car. So I go to the front, Tim goes to the back, and I look up there. As soon as we came out of the house, I got my bat. These three kids go sprinting across the street, just sprinting, and Tim goes after him in the back, and I start heading down the road with my baseball bat, because they're not ghosts. I'm not going to be scared. It's not The Exorcist or whatever it is. It's kids, and I have a baseball bat, and I don't know if they have a gun. Didn't ever encounter to me. I was just going, it's a small town, Wisconsin. I'm going after them with my baseball bat. Then Tim yells at me, hey, there's more back here. Come back. I said, okay. I could deal with 3, but I wasn't going to deal with multiple. So we walked back. We ended up calling the police. The police come out. I mean, there's probably 6 to 8 police cars there. They followed the car. They caught up to the car. They found the kids. This girl comes walking out, right when the cops were pulling up, and they go, "Do you live here?" And she goes, "No." Dun dun dun. And so she was caught. The other kids were all caught. They were vandalizing a house and a car. So we thank the spirits for catching them in the neighborhood, because they didn't want anything to happen to their house. So your encounters with spirit and your encounters with ghosts are pretty cool. Everyone in that house was a spirit, not a ghost. That's why that house feels so wonderful all the time. That's why I was really afraid and really upset. Like Jen would say, thank you for, and I know Jen's team does it too. When Jen investigates, being honest to your clients. That's the most we can do for anyone. If you can't find anything at night, you can't find anything. If you haven't come up with an EVP, you didn't come up with something. Don't try to create it just to think that you're better. I find that so tough that people spend their, worried about, hey, I didn't catch anything today. Oh, you didn't catch anything. So spirits don't work on command. Like even when I do readings, I always tell people, I can't guarantee who I bring through. I'll bring somebody through, because everybody has somebody, but it might not be the person you want me to talk to. It might not be your dad, it might not be your mom or grandma, but I'm definitely going to bring somebody through. And a lot of times what happens is I bring people through who not necessarily did you have a good time with in life, because they're willing to make up for it now. We find that a lot, and I think that's what happens in homes too, with spirits in there, and is the fact that they're there now to kind of help you understand and try to, make up for what they did in life. They understood they make mistakes. When we go to heaven, we understand we make mistakes. That's what it's about. Because we go through what we call life review. And life review is that period where we go to the other side. Some religions, unfortunately, call it purgatory or something like that. But it's not really purgatory, because there's no real place like that. Because either you've gone all the way over to heaven, or you haven't, and you're stuck here on earth. So there's the two places you are. You're either in heaven and you can come back and forth, or you're stuck here in the earth plane, usually in the same place that you are now. So when we ghost hunt, it's so important to give exactly the details we get. And I know I see some of my students in here. And I always, when we get into the mediumship and starting to talk about how we do readings are always the first thing that comes to our heads. So that message, that thought. So if you're a ghost hunter and you're out on an investigation, doing an investigation, because I believe everybody has psychic abilities. I believe everybody's on the spectrum. You might not have a ton of it, you might have a little bit of it, but everybody has some of it. So when you're in the house investigating, the first thing that comes to your head, and you weren't thinking about it, you all of a sudden got this thought and you go, whoa, wait. That's the thought you go with. That's the thought you say out loud so the recorders get it. That's the thoughts you do. You write down what time you're at. That is the most important thing at the moment, because when our active mind starts kicking in, then we're in trouble. Then we're making stuff up, and I won't let you make things up when I'm out there. I even have been okay. So there was one time when this other Iowa group, really close to the Dakotas, very good friends of mine, they decided that they wanted me in because they had a medium that they weren't thoroughly trusting this medium, and they asked me to come in and work with them and see if I understood what the medium was, because the medium was, to them, was quite weird, and the stuff didn't make sense that he was saying, and he kept saying, nope, I got it, this is it. So they brought me in as just another paranormal investigator, working with them from out of town, one of their friends from out of town who was just a paranormal investigator. They didn't say I was a medium, sensitive, or anything. But we actually investigated the house the night before, and then we went in with the medium the next day. So I already investigated the house. I actually solved the house that night that we did it. So anything that from that, we knew somebody was making up or heard it before. Because this house had this thing where there was this legend that if you were in this house, these pennies would be dropped upon you when you were in this house. And it was the big story. That's how this house got booked. was because of the pennies, and everybody went in to catch the pennies every night. So they asked me in. They go, okay, find out who's throwing the pennies at us. Find out who's in this house, where it's up there. So I come in, and I already knew there was a female spirit in the bedrooms upstairs. I didn't find a lot downstairs, and then I found out who was throwing the pennies, and I stopped the investigation because I was there for that one thing. I stopped there for the investigation. I said to him, I said, can I talk to the homeowners by myself and the group of the paranormal leader by myself? I didn't want everybody that was there that night with us to hear. And I said, can we talk? And so we went into the room, and I asked for their son not to come with us first. I asked just for the mother and father and the leader and myself, so the four of us. We went off to another room. I said, so do you want to know who is throwing the pennies? And they said, yeah. I said, it's your son. They said, what? I said, yeah, your son. Your son is the one that's doing this. He's throwing the pennies. It's no spirit. He's here every time there's a ghost hunt. He hides up in the top. He's got these things he can throw down the pennies, and it looks like it came from nowhere. And they called their son in, and the son admitted right in front of all of us. We went to everybody then. He admitted right in front of all of us that ever since that first night when he did it to kind of scare his parents, and everybody thought it was cool, and that grew in the urban legend that there was a spirit throwing pennies that made him money, because now all these people are investigating there. There are spirits in the house. It's a haunted house. It would be any great place to go investigate. There was no murders there, nothing like that. And the penny house wasn't this big thing other than him throwing on it. And he kept throwing pennies because he wanted to keep that legend going. And so that was it for the night. It was kind of embarrassing. We talked about the other experiences. So I had enough down so that we could do a fair test of this medium the next night. So remember, I said there's a woman upstairs and in the bedroom, and there's a couple other spirits I had. And I said, and we solved the pennies. So the next night we walked in, and one of the first scenes, the guy goes, oh, I feel somebody that's throwing pennies. I'm like, we kind of all looked at each other and kind of went, you knew this guy looked up the house right away, because how else would you know that right away? Because there was no pennies thrown. There was nothing in this place. So it was like, who is this penny thrower? And I'm like, oh. And then he goes, I feel this male up in the bedroom. No bedroom. Hi, Christopher, I love you. Everybody, there's Christopher St. Booth, one of the best filmmakers, one of my best friends in the whole wide world. That man has taught me integrity. That man has taught me love. That man has taught me so much in my life. I would not be the person I am without having him as one of my best friends. And I thank him and Rachel, the two of the most loving people I've ever met. Their family's amazing. Philip's amazing. I know his other brother too, so I know the whole family. Just totally amazing people. If you ever can see Christopher at an event, please do. He is by far the nicest, the best man you'll ever meet in your life. So, Christopher, I love you with all my heart, man. And without Children of the Grave 2, I don't think I'd be here tonight doing this movie, because he gave me the foundation I need to really solidify my mediumship, and and just showing me that picture of that voodoo doll at the beginning really started this all out. So thank you, Christopher. I can't thank you enough. I give you all my love. So the night went on, and we ended up having a nickname for the medium that was there that night. We ended up, and this is bad, but this is my old days before I became way more spiritual of a being. We ended up calling him Ophir the medium, because he got nothing right. He was O for nothing. He was nothing. Didn't have anything right. Needless to say that they didn't hire him to be on his team. So, but back to that integrity. That's what we're talking about, is integrity of your team. If you don't understand what something's saying, don't make it up. Tell them you don't understand it. Tell them you got an EVP you can't understand. If you got a feeling or something, then you say, I can't understand it, but I feel this. It's never about making something up. That's not the case. If you're in a reading, it's never about making anything up. If you're not getting anything in a reading, you're not getting anything in a reading. That's why I charge by per minute. Most mediums you go to want to charge you for an hour, and then after 45 minutes, they're starting making stuff up because they don't have anything else. Well, once you're done, and that's why I charge by the minute. So, but that's, once again, it's still integrity. So Sharon, this is one of your classes for your mediumship class. So just so you know, integrity. But integrity is great in the ghost hunting. It's just amazing. And if you don't have it, you shouldn't be in this anymore. And this is not the only time that I've walked up and had people that say, there was one case here in Wisconsin where the family almost sold their house because they were told by a paranormal team here in Wisconsin that they had demons in their house and that they couldn't get rid of it. We ended up finding out who the spirit was, and we helped them with the spirit in their house. So totally different than demons. Totally different. And unfortunately, most of the movies that we see that are non-documentary are meant to scare. And that's what they are. They're horror movies, and that's fine. That's what they're about. But we have to understand it. Even the TV shows, who I know almost everybody that's been on TV shows, I love them all dearly, and they all will tell you that they didn't edit the show. They didn't do anything wrong to do it. But unfortunately, it was edited the way to make it seem more scary than what it really was. And you find that out with a lot of people. So it's about the editors, it's about the film, because without the TV show on, you wouldn't really have anything. There's no drama. So that's the one thing in life. None of us would go to a movie where a little old lady got into a car and was driving from Wisconsin to California. And the only thing she ever would do is go to the bathroom or go to eat. And she would just keep driving. What movie? Would anyone watch that? Anyone? No. Because nothing happens. Nothing happens other than her going to the bathroom or going to eat. And in there, that's boring. That's not a movie. We're all in our life. We want the ups. We want the downs. Even this down we're in right now is a chance for us to understand how well and how neat of lives we had before this all hit us. Because right now we're encountering a life that's not so great. That's not the best. But instead of looking at it that way, here's a chance that we're actually getting to spend more time with our loved ones. I spent more time with my family during this lockdown than I have for the last 10 years. And I have such a wonderful family that it's amazing. I can't believe I haven't spent the time with them. You know what I mean? So instead of looking at this time as negative, look at this time as positive of what we've been able to do. I've been able to start doing these videos. I've been able to start doing readings, holding more classes. I have a ton of people that are starting to take my classes, which I'm very excited about. But it's, I started my Facebook page, Scotty Rourke Psychic Medium, my business page, which has my readings on it and a scheduler so I can do readings during the week and classes. So I look at it as such a blessing, and I've been able to help so many more people during this time that I probably wouldn't if I was still had a day job and still working in that realm and not in my spiritual realm. So the more that we look at things in the positive or in our eyes of love, the better we're going to be. The better that we have it, because we all have really pretty decent lives. There are some that have the tragedies, and the rest of us are there to help them. That's what it's about. But I look at some of my dearest friends that are in this room tonight, and I love them dearly. There's Jennifer in there, there's Sandy, Carly, Robin. So a ton of people that I thoroughly love. And it's great. So it's great to have so many people. So instead of when tragedy helps, or when tragedy's happening, so right now is tragedy for the world. There are so many people that have passed, and I feel so bad for them, but yet I understand where they've gone, and I give them love beyond compare, because the love that they are receiving from the other side right now is tremendous. I'm ready to go anytime. If the Lord takes me, away we go. Here we go. I'm gone. And I'm going to have fun, but I'm going to come back and haunt anyone that's watching this video. So all you people that are on the live right now, I'm coming back to haunt you because that's the kind of person I am. But I'm okay with death. And I'm sad that other people have had it because of this virus. I'm sad that the other families have to deal with this because of the virus. But let's look at the love that we have inside of ourselves, and let's give each other the love that we really need to be. Because the more we can be that now, the better we're going to be in the future. So, I'm always looking to be the person of love now. And I think you guys can do it too. So let's be grateful for what we have. Let's not worry about it, and let's not fight with each other. That's probably one of the biggest things that I've seen in the paranormal is the fighting. And I've seen so much fighting now on Facebook during this pandemic. It's incredibly weird. I don't understand it. I don't understand why we're fighting. I don't understand why we're calling people names. I don't understand why we're calling our leaders names. I don't see that. I don't see where the love is. I don't see where that's getting us. I don't see us. Hi Susan. Hi Tom. I don't see us gaining anything from this. I don't see us gaining from people making statements of hate and upset and twisting words on both sides of the field. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, that's not love. That's our life. This life, we're everlasting beings. Okay, we're just encountering right now a physical life, but we're spirits that have. We live forever. We're everlasting beings. That's who we are. And we spend it in the love of God when we cross over. But we come here to experience. We come here to grow. We come here to learn. We come here to encounter. We come here to create. We're part of God. We're just as much a part of God as everybody else is. And I know I'm way off on a tangent, but that's what Scotty Talks is all about. Scotty starts talking, and we get off on a tangent. Hey, I'm off on a tangent. Hey, I tell you, I get no respect. So way off on the spiritual tangent, but we'll get back to ghost hunting in a second. But that's my Rodney, by the way. Rodney. Hey, I tell you, I get no respect. Maybe Scotty will talk about Rodney when I do a whole Rodney skit. I don't know. It might come up. I don't know. But we need to be the love that the world needs right now. We're part of God. We're here to help Him make everybody understand what we have, what love we have, what we are to the world. Does that make sense to everybody? Because that's why we're here to experience. We're all creators. That's what we do. That's why we love taking tasks on. That's why we love building things. That's why we love encountering things, learning new things, reading, watching, doing that type of stuff. That's what we love because we're creators. We love to create. We love to grow. We love to manifest new ideas. So I want everybody that's watching tonight to manifest some love this week. Let's try not to post that negative post on Facebook. Well, let's try not to keep calling people offers, like myself. I mean, I've done it. I'm not perfect. I did it too. I even told you the story tonight. I said I was an offer, and I called that guy an offer. Well, that's not very good to do. I should have done it more professionally, but that was, I don't know how many years ago that was. That was way long ago. But we all grow. We all learn. We all understand that our life is changing, and that we need to continue changing with the life. But encountering spirit, encountering God, working in that realm is so much better than living in the hate or the sorrow or the disgust. It's time for us to put that out there. Yeah, good impressions, right? Tom put good impressions. Yeah, it is. It's our good impression on others, because when people meet us or they know us, they're all going to enjoy our love that we have out there. It's not that we're going to go out and evangelize, and that's not what I'm saying. But I mean, in your daily life, if you're walking there and somebody's ringing you out at the grocery store, and they're there with thousands of people, give them a thank you. you know, and you should give them a thank you if we're not in a pandemic, because they're working hard to give us a life that we want. You know, everybody does. You know, give a thankful for your teachers, your ministers, your ghost hunting, your friends, your family, your loved ones, your your best friends. You know, just give everybody the love that they need and the understanding that they deserve. So sorry, tangent over. Should we go back to the Masked Singer? I don't know who's getting voted off tonight, and it's not me, the dinosaur. So, not back to the Masked Singer. But if you missed the beginning of the show, watch it again, because we had the Masked Singer on here. So, that was kind of weird. But, alright, so going back to ghost hunting. So, integrity in ghost hunting, probably the biggest thing. The other thing in integrity in ghost hunting, which I don't understand, and I can't understand, if anyone wants to pop down and put a message if they understand this, I don't, is how does a group take ownership of a location? Don't know. Can anyone tell me? Like we were here first, we got the first EVP, so it's our place. Nobody else comes in this place, only us. How does that work? Can anyone tell me? Where if we were any other science, like everybody tries to say ghost hunting is right. You can't. Thanks, Jennifer. You can't, because if we were truly a science, we would take what anyone else has encountered. Yeah, less posturing, right? Exactly. Jennifer, you're straight on tonight, Sharon too. But when you look at it, you know, unless we're posturing, or unless we're trying to get fame into what we do, and that doesn't make sense to me. So what I think we need to do is be more like science. And if you're ghost hunting and you get an EVP of this voice in this house or in Waverly Hills or wherever you are, and you're in this room and you get it at this time and you got all the documentation of when you had your EVP. Okay? Now what would be cool is to get the next team to come in and do the same time, same place, same equipment, and try to get the same EVP. Or try to get an EVP that has the same voice. It might not be the same message. It might be a different voice. I mean, a different message, but the same voice. And to me, that starts proving the point. I did that at a cemetery in Kentucky. And, see, I'm blowing all these names tonight. Sorry, I apologize for it. Then sometime you can ask me about it again, and I'll let you know all the people. Anyway, so there's a cemetery in Kentucky, and I went there. This is when I was back on Parax, and I went there 1 year, and we did an investigation there, and we went down and we met this spirit boy, and we got an EVP, and it was super clear, you know, and we didn't have to translate, we didn't have to filter, we didn't have to do anything on it, we understood it. So then a year later, I went back down for another visit with my friends down there, and we went out to the same cemetery, and we got the same voice a year later in the same cemetery in the same place. And so the two EVPs, same voices, a year apart in the same place. So to me, that's an EVP and that's a spirit. Because when you can start replicating, which everybody who doesn't believe us believes you can't do, you can do. We need to do. We need to do this, but we posture too much. Shelley, exactly. Share the wealth and work together. That's the exact truth. If we can truly understand that the spirit is still there, we need to be sharing that information. We need to be trying to replicate it. We need to be trying to do it again. Because the more we do it again, if I went back to that same place again, I drove by there last year and I was like, maybe I should stop just for a couple minutes and see if I can get the EVP again. But we didn't. But the more you spend your time looking at this and trying to replicate what you're doing and have different teams do it. You don't even have to do the same thing. Because somebody will go, oh, maybe you just did the same thing. It's one of your voice. And Tom says, yeah, most are afraid of competition. There should be no competition because the competition is not what the spirit field is about. It's about first of all love. It's about the message. It's about helping others. Now, if the spirit's stuck here, then that's something we have to do to help that spirit who's stuck here cross over, or find out who their murderer was, why they're here, why they're stuck, where their greed is coming from, that type of stuff. That's what we need to look at. We don't need to be going, this house is haunted and it's going to be haunted this way the rest of my life and nobody else can come in here. Ouch, I hate that. Hate it. Where I think if we work together, we would be able to encounter so much more and be able to prove so much more and get very similar results. Because because if the real spirit is still there, it's going to be fine. You'll be able to get it your entire life. Yeah, Sandy, that's a good point. Sandy and I were at a place, and we got the same message from Spirit in two different places. Sandy was in one place of the building, and I was in the other place of the building, and the same message came to both of us from the same Spirit. So, I think that's totally. Yeah, I forgot all about that, Sandy. Thanks. That was an incredible night too. Sandy runs our Psychics Unite group up in Westfield, Wisconsin, which is north of Portage. So Portage, Westfield, that's their group. But yeah, if we share the knowledge and the understanding. So when we go into these investigations, Huntsville, Alabama. Boy, I've had some great investigations in Huntsville. Great. I loved it down there. Real cool city. Now in Huntsville, and if I didn't see her come on tonight, but Molly, who used to be on my radio show, The Buzz with me, she was my co-host. She used to live in Alabama, just outside of Huntsville, and we went to this little town that she was taking me around, and we're having all this. It's a small little town. It's like this old town from 1800s. I mean, a lot of old buildings. It was really cool. And then I kept saying, we got to go up this road. There's this it was non-paved anymore. It was a gravel road that went up. It was blocked off. And I said, well, we got to go up there. And sure enough, we went up this gravel road. We walked up there, and there was a little cemetery there. And it was the only time I ever got scratched. I got a scratch from here all the way down to here because I kept looking at this little cemetery. I wasn't listening to the spirits next to me. And so when I turned my head because of the scratch, I went, ow. I turned my head and I looked over and I saw in the woods the other cemetery. I saw this cemetery. I saw this place that was just all covered in leaves, wood. It was like run down, but if you really look deep, you could see the tombstones in it. It was all the spirits from that cemetery which drew me up there, not the little one, the big one that nobody's taken care of ever. And they just let it overgrow. And they all didn't want to be forgotten, and they were kind of showing us it. And so as you can see today, I still talk about it because it was that memorable to me. So I find that quite exciting. Some awesomeness. All right, so where I went off on my tangent. I don't even know where I was originally. Oh, way back at this is so funny because it started out as me talking about my first paranormal investigation at UW Oshkosh in 1993. Oh my God, he's good. Oh, the gentleman in 1993. Now I know why I went back. Thank you, Spirit. His name is Tim Hart, Harte, from Springfield, Illinois. He and there's a cool story about him here too. I'll tell you that. So, Tim and I went on that first investigation, became dear friends, always dear friends. We lost track. I went off, had the family, did everything I could. So later in life, when I first started, we went to a paranormal investigation and an event, and this was before I was a medium, and we were out at this place, at this really cool place with Belinda. And it was a really neat old church and school and stuff like that. And Tim Hart was there with us, and him and I ended up talking, and we didn't recognize each other at first, and we kept going, well, you know, and then we figured out who we were. And he goes, yeah, I was in Oshkosh. And he goes, you're the one that we investigated with. I said, yeah. And so I ended up having him on my radio show. Very excited to talk with Tim Hart. So the the Earth, the universe putting us together after time was so amazing. But the most amazing story is on this coincidence, or the world putting us back together. So Tim and Hart, I did my first investigation in '93, and we didn't know. So I had my radio show, and I went to this Parax convention in Michigan, and the guy that was leading the whole thing, the star note speaker, the keynote speaker for the whole event was Patrick Burns. Patrick Burns, hopefully everybody knows who Patrick is. He's one of the greatest guys out there. Amazing soul, and one of my dear friends. He's married to Marley, and so Marley Burns and him, amazing. We were at their wedding. Incredible people. So Patrick was there at the event, and he did his lecture, and it was just awesome to see. Loved the man. It was totally great. And him and I sat down. Oh yeah, I could talk about drinking. I don't drink, but I sat at the bar because he was there having a drink, and we were talking. And I asked him. I said, "Hey, Patrick," I said, "you know, I have a radio show. I would love to have you on there as a guest, one of the first guests." And he actually was one of the first guests on the radio show because I was just starting it. And he said, "Yeah, I'll be a guest." And I said, "So where are you from?" He said, "Illinois." I said, "Where in Illinois?" Because I'm from Wisconsin. He said, "This place." I said, "Oh, that's cool." I said, "Where'd you work?" He said, "Six Flags." I said, "Wow, so did I." I said, "When'd you work?" I said, 84 through 88. He said, "So did I." And I said, he goes, "What ride you work on?" I said, "I was the lead the manager at the Eagle." He goes, "So did I." And we looked at each other. I said, "Patrick." He goes, "Scotty." And we come to find out that we actually worked at Six Flags Great America in Gurnee, Illinois together in 1987. And him and I used to talk about Ghostbusters all the time because that's when Ghostbusters, has been out. We ended up watching Ghostbusters together. I always said Patrick Burns looked like Egon Spengler. And I'd always tell him, every time on my ride, we had those microphones. I go, "Patrick, say it." He always goes, "I collect spores, molds, and fungus." And I love that. And he could say it just like him. And it was so great. So if you ever see Patrick Burns at an event or somewhere, ask him to say, Scotty says say it. And he'll say, "I collect spores, molds, and fungus." Patrick, oh my God. That's so funny, and we've been great friends ever since. We had a cool investigation that night. It was really neat. I mean, the spirits that night were so. The spirits that night were so crazy. We were at this old theater just outside of Detroit area in Michigan, and the spirits got mad at us that night. They really did, because we were traipsing across the stage, and the spirits were actually, I'll tell you in a second. The spirits were mad because they were putting on a show for us on the stage, and we kept traipsing in front of them when they were doing their show. So we had this hit with spirit, but we ended up apologizing. We watched the show for a while, and everything went well. But it's kind of cool. So it's kind of cool how people in your life. And then I go back to think about it, because in his lecture that night, he said he always remembered somebody when he was a kid telling him that ghosts weren't scary. And that's why he got into the paranormal field. And that person was. And I still tell people ghosts aren't scary. That's why, if everybody wonders why, you'll see on my webpage that I really started out as Spooky Scotty when I was doing paranormal investigatings. And why did I do Spooky Scotty? Well, because I said that if I'm the spookiest thing you'll ever meet, then that's why it is, because I'm not spooky, ghosts aren't spooky, so don't be afraid. So that's where I got Spooky Scotty from. because I don't want anybody to be afraid of ghosts. I don't want anybody to be afraid of spirit. I think it's incredible. I think it's amazing when we have experiences with spirit. I find it thoroughly exciting whenever we get any EVP message, anything we get in any investigation. That's why it doesn't have to be embellished. Too often people embellish readings, ghost hunts, EVPs, because they think it needs to be more, and it doesn't need to be more. It just needs to be what it is. So getting back on my soapbox again. So yeah, so bring it up here too. Before I joined Shadowhunters, they were the only ones ever to do a ghost hunt at Six Flags Great America. So that's why I believed when I met their team, and I fell in love with Sharon and Nick and Greg and a bunch of others. I fell in love with them, and then I found out they did Six Flags too, the place where I met Patrick Burns. I absolutely looked at myself and said, this is the team. We're put together for a reason. I better engage and encounter with these people, and we've been ever since. And tonight I'm on their page doing my Scotty Talks About. So what a great team, and they had some great experiences at Six Flags too. Even Six Flags is haunted. Every place is haunted. There's ghosts everywhere. We just have to be open to it. So I just find it that way. All right, where am I even at time? I don't even know where I am tonight. Wow, I'm right there at the end already. Holy cow! I think I'll go for a couple minutes. Does everybody don't mind? I know you have to pick. I know we're Shadowhunters tonight, so Nick's putting up a really cool video on our YouTube page, Shadowhunters YouTube page. So go over there and see it after this video is done tonight. We're excited to keep the content up on this page. I'll be putting this up on my page. If you missed the beginning of it, you missed the beginning of the Masked Singer tonight, you can tune into that earlier. Does anyone have any questions so far? Because every week I'll continue talking. I have so many stories. I've been on Facebook almost 12 years, and I was doing this before that already. So yeah, Nick's put the post in down below. You can click on it. Hi, Millie. How are you? So, yeah, I had all these stories ready for tonight, and I don't even think I told any. Oh, Carly, I had in Beloit. No, I haven't. Other than the ones at Nine Bells and Cattails, by the way. If you're in Beloit, Wisconsin, and need a very cool metaphysical shop, you need to go there. They also host our Psychics Unite group down in Beloit at that place. But they have spirits in that building, so you can encounter them. The really coolest spirit is the owner's father or grandfather. He is probably the coolest guy I've ever met. He was a priest from Japan, I think. If I'm wrong, Carly will get me, but or a Buddhist monk, something like that. But gentleman's been in my life teaching me patience. I need it. I need it a lot. He's good. How come my one eye is? Did you guys notice that? My one eye is different than the other. Like this one's way lower than the other. I'm going to have to get an eye lift. I have to move it up there. And they got some pretty good mediums there too. Yeah, Carly's there. Carly reads for the shop, so she's one of my students, and I'm very happy to have her tonight. So some early ghost hunting ones, I think. But 93 with Tim Hart. But yeah, it was so funny because the strings. We watched the strings to move, so you could see any motion in the room. We saw the footprints, but in there, not only did I hear the footprints that night in that theater, we actually heard one of the loudest booms I've ever heard in an investigation, and it came from the tunnel, which has been caved in for years or closed up and bricked up for a year. That used to be around the town of Oshkosh that all the rich people used in the day to stay out of the rain and out of the cold. Yeah, I'll go with you, Sandy. We'll go up to Stevens Point for that too. But yeah, so the techniques haven't changed, just the tools have changed, but really the mediums, and the spiritual people haven't changed. Okay, very cool question. I'll open up this for questions now. Yeah, we'll keep going here for a little bit more. So, how do you maintain your spiritual health as you spend so much energy helping others? I know you as a recipient of that love, friendship, and health. How do you take care of you? Um, Jennifer, great point. And I'm going to throw it out to my students too because I started teaching them. I think the one biggest thing in the world is I meditate, and I find it thoroughly. It aligns my energy. It teaches me who I am. It teaches me my energy. And I know a lot of people that have come to me this week for their first classes. This is the thing that we started. But the energy is number one. If I don't know my energy, I'm not understanding other people's energies. I'm not understanding spirit's energies. And you are not supposed to combine your energy with anybody else's energy. So, unfortunately, when mediums and psychics, after readings, after being in shows all day, or after investigating, get really tired. They go, "Oh, I'm so tired." Well, unfortunately, you're doing it wrong if you get so tired because you're giving your energy, or you're taking the energy of spirit, or you're letting them take, and give. So it's not only that you're giving to spirit, but you're giving to the other ghost hunters. You're also giving it to the building. So I don't give that energy. I let you feel it. I let you engage with my spirit, but I don't allow you to take it. I don't allow you to have my energy. I don't allow you to mix your energy. I keep my energy to myself, and that's how I stay awake so well. And that's how, and because of the love, people just feel that through my energy. So that's how I don't get so tired. What the heck was that? Wrong side of the room. I don't know where that is. Oh, that's the front side of the room. Cool. So hopefully that answers your question, Jennifer. Yeah. Well, that might be it because this is the eye I had surgery on in January. So, and I favor it a lot because I had two tear retinas, or I had a detached retina and two tears. So they had to replace all that and fix it. So it might be. What do you know now that you didn't know when you started? Oh my God, great question. I don't think I've ever been asked that. That is totally cool. I guess the biggest thing that I know now that I didn't know before was our true connection with spirit. My true connection with spirit, I guess, if we want to even put it down in the terms. I never trusted myself when I first started. I was always worried about if my readings were going to be correct, if my teachings were going to be correct, if my lectures were going to be good, my TV shows were going to be great, my radio shows were going to be wonderful. I kept worrying about that all the time. When I started understanding that the true benefit to all this is my connection with spirit, that they are not here to deceive me, they're here to help me, they're here to help others, and as someone doing God's work, I'm going to be honored with them giving me the right things. And so I understand that connection. I understand that love. I understand who I am and who they are. And that's why I don't worry anymore. That's why some people say, can you, I'm goofing around, like Jennifer knows I goof around up to the moment that I have to give a reading. Then I go sit down and I start a reading. Where other readers spend all day trying to meditate, get into readings and all that stuff. And I'm like, well, mess around, blah, blah, blah. Boom, reading. And it's because I trust the moment I connect with spirit that I don't need to do anything other than listen. And that's the same thing as if you're goofing around with your friends. The moment you listen, the moment spirit comes through. So I think that's my biggest aha through this all. And that it is not scary, that it is of love, that spirit is here. And that's why our loved ones come to us. That's why spirit comes to us. is to show us that love, to show us, stop being scared of this, stop being afraid, and live, love, and enjoy your creations as creators, as a part of God. Enjoy this life, because when we're in heaven, we don't get to create like we do here. That's why we always like to come to earth, because we get to create. You know, and unfortunately, some people think we create. Ooh, I didn't even see that. I was looking at me so much, I didn't even, and my thing didn't scroll up, so there's a lot more messages down here. So thank you guys, I didn't see that. Yeah, so awesome, you guys. So thanks. Hopefully that answers your questions. Any more questions while I'm still here? We can go on for a few more minutes. I don't got nothing to do. I'm locked up. So are you. And then those of you that are watching that are essential workers, I thank you guys so much for helping all of us live during this time. I can't thank you enough for the work you do. And I can't thank enough everybody that's watching for their love and stuff that they give everybody and their families to keep them safe. It's an important time for us to be the loving spiritual beings that we're set out to be, and not be the hate and grumpiness that we used to encounter, thinking that we needed more. We don't need more. We just need the love in our families and our friends. And if we have that, the rest of the world, the shopping, the new cars, the new everything, we don't need. We don't need as much. And I think that, hopefully that's kind of coming through to everybody during this time. It's not being socialist, it's being loving, it's being spiritual. That's just the way I see it going right now, so hopefully that makes sense. Oh, Millie had the same thing as me, a detached retina, 2.5 weeks. Oh yeah, it took me over 2 months to get back into it. So what does Spirit say collectively about the pandemic? Well, I did have a vision on the pandemic, and I think I talked about it last week, but I'll say it again. I had a vision that this was the earth, or Spirit, putting a pause in our lives, a pause, putting us for a different future. And I think it has to do with the materialism that we felt before, us all feeling that we're always driving for something when we already had it all with us, that we already had it in our houses, we already had it in our hearts, we already had it with our friends. But I think to them, that this new phase that we're going to go into is a very spiritual phase. It's one where we're going to start hopefully loving each other more. And I guess the biggest thing that they showed me that was the biggest disgrace was the hoarding and the fights in the hoarding and that stuff when it originally happened. And they kept telling me that's what we have to stop. We can't be that anymore. When you saw that video of that elderly gentleman getting the toilet paper ripped out of his hands and him not knowing what to do was really sad to me. And in Spirit, showed me that too. That's not what this is about. That's not what this earth is about. That's not what heaven's about. That's not what the other planets are about. That's not what the other universes are about. That's not what this all is. It's about love. So, and it's not the love of our stuff. It's the love of the relationships we do. I love with the growth that we do. So that's the biggest message for Spirit. Enjoy this time. And then the other thing I think is the coolest thing is, how a lot of us feel Spirit coming to us and they talk to us, especially mediums and stuff. But now in this pause, everybody's getting it. Everybody's encountering this pause. Everybody is hearing the same things that you're hearing, because, like I said, I believe everybody's on the spectrum. So once you hear that, it's weird for people who've never heard it before, never heard Spirit, so it's their first time. So they're like going, wow, what the heck? Here's Spirit coming. And I have to listen to it, or I don't have to listen to it, but it's coming to me, and it kind of freaking people out because they've never heard it before. They've never encountered that Spirit voice because they've always been too busy running the kids, to this appointment, running, doing this for work, going out of town for work, doing this, running. Instead of listening to Spirit and knowing that they're here guiding us and trying to teach us, I think that's scaring people, and the majority of the people are going to feel it and understand it. But so we have to allow it to come in. We have to allow that energy, that love, that guidance coming to us. There's other question I had here. I'm going to scroll up again. So Millie, you do psychometry. That's when you touch things and feel their energies and then know what that is. Yeah, I do know. That's psychometry. You're able to actually touch things and know where it was in time. Oh, I got a cool story on that. How about that? How about this? Leaving with this cool story tonight on this one. So I'll leave with one more. If no one has a question, if you have another question, I'll answer. But I have a cool story about psychometry since we're talking about it. So Terry and I went. If everybody doesn't know, my beautiful wife is Terry. She's the founder of Psychics Unite. Her and I went to this museum in Milwaukee. It's a Milwaukee Public Museum, and they had a show that was touring around the United States of an old slave boat. This slave boat actually became a pirate ship because it got stolen. The pirates stole it from the slavers, and so it was like in the early 1700s. I think it was like 1717 or 1716, something like that. So, or before, and they would go up and down the coast stealing stuff, robbing ships, and doing all this stuff. Well, it ended up getting sunk off the coast of Massachusetts, and they ended up raising the boat up, and they brought all the artifacts from the ship that they could find after all these years, and they brought it up, and that's what the museum touring thing was, all the artifacts. It was really cool because I got to touch the cannon, and I knew one cannon was real, one cannon wasn't, even though they looked the same, but you could feel the difference, and you could see that this other one was was shot. They actually shot out of it. The other one was, like I said, a reproduction. But you saw all the pieces, and I saw a ton of the pirates around. And so as I was seeing the pirates and everything, Terry kept going. This was early on before, but Terry would say, "Oh, so who's the pirate you're talking to?" I gave her his name, and I said, he said he died in 1717. Terry goes, "Well, that can't be true, because the ship sunk and everybody died in 1716. Because that's what they had in a big plaque. Everything died, and the whole thing was 1716. So that can't be true." I said, "Well, okay, I guess not. I guess I must have the year wrong or heard him wrong." He kept going, "Nope, I died in 1717. I said, "Okay." I just left it at that. And so we went around, and so we get right before the end of the whole exhibit, and there's a plaque on the wall about that there is actually 2 survivors, and one of the survivors was the guy's name I gave Terry, and the exact same first name, and it said on there he was a survivor, and that he got caught coming out of the water, and he was arrested, and he was tried for treason, and he was hung in 1717. So he actually did die in 1717. So trust your instincts. Trust what you're getting. Even though if someone says it's wrong, trust what you're getting, because Spirit's going to tell you the right thing all the time. Because they want their stories known. They need the help too. They want you to have the help. They want you to understand what's really going on. So trust yourself. Trust that you have that connection, because I was asked, what is the greatest thing that I found since the beginning to now? It is my connection with Spirit. So trust that you have it. Trust that you have that love. Trust that we all can do this, that we all have that connection with Spirit, and we can all be the love and the loving person that we need to be. And we need to forgive. We need to have unconditional love, which is just different than regular love. But unconditional love. Be the unconditional love. Allow people to be who they are, and love them for their decisions, because you can't change their decisions, and you only get mad as if somebody did something you didn't want them to, or someone didn't do something you wanted them to do. So remember that. I'm going to leave everybody with that tonight. I thank you very much. I will be back next week with another version of Scotty Talks About. Um, no more Masked Singer. Well, maybe I'll keep that up every week. We'll see what kind of costume I can start the show with. But you can find me. I'm booking classes on my webpage, on my Facebook page, my business page at Scotty Rourke Psychic Medium. I have classes on there. Classes usually go for at least 6 weeks, if not more. They're at least once a week, and if not once every other week. I do readings. Feel free if you during this time you need readings. Yeah, those can also be booked on my business page, Scotty Rourke on Facebook. You can also get all my stuff through Shadow Hunters here. They got a cool video that Nick's going to be posting up next Tuesday night. One of my students, Sharon, will be doing tarot readings right here on the Shadow Hunters page. Check out Shadow Hunters. We got hopefully an event coming up that will still live. Spirits in the spring. If not, it'll be Spirits in the fall or Spirits in the winter. Whenever it's going to be, we're still going to do it. So we just got to figure out where we're going to do it. So very excited to have everybody. Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate everybody. You guys have a great night. I will see you next Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Central. Got to get that right. And even on my business page, everything's in Central Time. Central. So I already had one reading that they called me up. Aren't we supposed to meet? No, not for an hour. Central. So I'll be around Central Time. So thanks, everybody. You guys have a wonderful night. And be the love that you're supposed to be and connect with Spirit this week. We'll see you guys until next week with Scotty Talks About. Have a good night, everybody. Bye.